In 1999, Silverchair released their third studio album, Neon Ballroom. The album was described as heavy rock with orchestral flourishes and synthetic touches with powerfully emotional lyrics. The album was a step away from the band's grunge roots, however, it proved to be a successful release for Silverchair. And with Neon Ballroom now behind them, Daniel Johns began compiling ideas for a new album. That's right, the fourth Silverchair album. And as you'll hear from Daniel Johns in this upcoming clip, in preparation for the next Silverchair album, he was listening to a lot of music from the band Kyuss. Now, that was Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, that was his band. And Kyuss is raw, heavy music, and that was what Daniel Johns was listening to in preparation for making the new album. That was the direction he was going. And as you'll hear from Daniel up next, he had the album made. It was done. But then he decided to hit the delete button and start all over.
It was like I was really listening to like heaps and fuckloads of Kyuss. Do you know Kyuss? And I was just sitting there just like doing the most heaviest guitar album, which I'm sure people would have liked to have heard. But I finished it and I was really happy with it, and I was like, if I do this, I'm going to back myself into that corner again, and now I won't be able to explore melodies and pop music. So I literally just, I sat at the tape machine. There was one day I just woke up and went, this is not what I want. I think I'm doing what they want. And then I just deleted the whole thing and I just watched the tape just winding down, because I knew if I had that, I would get lazy, because like, well, I can always go back to that. So I made sure it was gone.
The physical act of erasing a tape is easy. It's a push of a button. But replacing 18 months of writing isn't.
After a year and a half of work, I had nothing again. I was just back to nothing.
So Johns had put all that time and all that work into that new album. It was going to be something heavy and raw, as he just explained, much like the previous releases from Silverchair, which went down very well with the fans. But then decided, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something completely different, go in a new direction. And that's when he decided to create something more uplifting musically. Bring on Diorama. Diorama was the complete opposite of what Daniel Johns was going to make. No more hard, heavy Silverchair rock tunes. Instead, bring on the pianos and full-on orchestra.
And I just remember buying a piano, and I was like, okay, now I'm going to try and write a record on a piano.
Daniel Johns was going to write his magnum opus on piano, but there was just one problem.
And I'd never played piano in my whole life. I didn't even know what chords were on a piano. And I just set it by ear, and that to me, that was a moment where I was like, okay, I don't actually need to be a musician. I just need to believe in art and music. All I need to do is, if it sounds nice, commit to it, whether it's right or wrong.
This would be the beginning of Dan's journey down the rabbit hole and into the grandiose.
Where I was putting Salvador Dali paintings on the piano and Brett Whiteley paintings on the piano, and trying to, I was trying to score their work, and I was putting on silent films and like listening to Baroque music and listening to the Wizard of Oz soundtrack constantly. It's like, fuck rock and roll, man, you guys suck. And almost every person that I played the demos to thought I was mental. Almost everyone, they're like, you can't do this. They're not even songs. But I think they are. I think they're songs. They're just not verse, chorus, middle eight, double chorus, C at the Grammys.
So Daniel Johns believed in his new music, but it seemed that not everybody else did. For the first time in Silverchair's career, they signed with a record label in the States. Atlantic Records would hold the rights to Diorama in America. And they weren't too keen on hearing Silverchair with strings and piano. They wanted that hard rock edge from the band.
Remember Creed? And Limp Bizkit? and all that. That's what was big in America, and I just decided to write this fucking fantastical Baroque record. And the record company was like, it's not going to work. And then they were like, how about we take the strings and the horns out of this and this and this? It's like, no, how about fuck off? Like, how about that? And then I remember the record company locking me up in a hotel room saying we need a rock single. And I was just like, I thought the album was finished.
Unhappy with the results, Atlantic Records shelved Diorama. This meant no one in the United States would be able to hear it. The stress from losing control of his masterpiece had dire consequences.
And it really made me angry, and it really upset me to the point where my body started eating itself. I woke up in the studio and my knee was like twice the size. And then I was like, something's up. But I thought maybe I just sprained it in my sleep or something. And then it just spread all through my body.
This was only the beginning of what would be a long battle for Daniel against the rare inflammatory disease reactive arthritis. And this is where you may have seen pictures of Daniel where he is using that cane that he used to use. It was a very bad time for him indeed. The album Diorama was released in Australia, and after 5 months of doing well there, Atlantic Records finally released it in the States. Things would turn around for Daniel as well, as he married singer Natalie Imbruglia in 2003, his wife of 5 years. And his health issues would turn around too, so after all those problems that the band had with Diorama and everything that went with it, it all ended up turning out okay in the end. And it is a very good album in my opinion. Some hardcore Silverchair fans just won't go for it. They'll just stick with those first 3 hard rock albums. That's fair enough. I too do prefer the hard rock version of Silverchair, but did find Diorama to be an amazingly good album, no doubt about that. But what I do want to go back to just before we end the video here is what if Daniel Johns had have released that hard rock album that he was planning to make, that he did make. He had completed it, and he deleted it. Now, I like Diorama, no problem with it. I am glad they did release that album, but also I would have liked to have heard the hard and heavy album too, if there was some way, we could have heard that as well. Because, of course, after Diorama, they followed that up with Young Modern, again, just totally going away from that hard, heavy sound. So, apart from those first 3 Silverchair albums that are hard and heavy, I mean, that's all we got. That's fair enough, and good luck to them. That's how they wanted to do it, but would have been good to hear at least one more hard-out Silverchair album, right? I'm sure it would have sounded really awesome, would have been really good to have had that album, but not to be. But as I say, as far as that hard rock goes, you got the Frog Stomps, the Freak Shows, and the Neon Ballrooms to satisfy you there, so. But there it is, guys. Thanks heaps for tuning in. As always, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you want to go that extra step, consider hitting that super thanks button down below. Much appreciated as always, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.